Hey, I'm Ed Doyle, president of RealFood Hospitality Strategy and Design, and I'm taking time today to sit down with some of the thought leaders across the spectrum of the hospitality industry to understand where we go from here today. Now, here is a weird place. I'm talking to them all remotely. It's no substitute for being in the same room, but it's no substitute for being in a restaurant together. So we're going to see what comes out of today as we look to the future to redefine our hospitality industry and understand how we can support our clients and, frankly, how we can support each other as we try to get through these challenging times.
I'm Jerry Hyman. I'm the chairman of Trimark USA. Trimark is the nation's largest distributor of food service equipment and supplies, reporting revenue last year of $2.1 billion. I've been with the company since 1981. I was CEO for 17 years and transitioned to chairman just at the beginning of this year.
All right, Jerry Hyman, new chairman of Trimark, after stepping down from years as the CEO. Well, congratulations on the new role, and certainly a transition in a very transitional time. You know, as we're looking forward, we're really starting to use our voice to say how we all collaborate to lead the industry forward. I thought it would be smart to sit down with some smart people to see what they think. Certainly, we're still in the midst of this crisis, but to look ahead is going to be an important thing. So let's put on our thinking cap, our futurist hat, and say, you know, when we get to the other side of the COVID virus crisis, you know, what will we have learned as the hospitality industry? What are we going to look back and say, didn't know that before, struggling through this got us to a place of greater understanding? What do you think?
I'm ready to discuss that because I'm tired of the sky is falling, the world will never be the same. It's time to move forward.
So what do you think that'll be? What do you think we will have learned? What do you think we're going to look back and be smarter operators, suppliers, advisors within our hospitality industry?
Coincidentally, I'm going to read you an email that came in at 10:16 this morning to me from a woman that is the meeting and events manager for a New York company called One Source Worldwide. They run some of the largest meetings and events in the country. And she said, hi, Jerry, I'm down in Florida with my parents, and they just opened restaurants to 25% capacity on Monday. So we went out for dinner for the first time, exclamation point. It felt so good. What I think that we've learned is everybody realizes more than ever now the importance in our lives of socializing and the social element that we all need in our lives, whether it's having a cup of coffee with somebody in the morning, a business lunch, a nice dinner. It's not about the coffee or the cocktail or the wonderful meal as much as it is about the socializing. And I think that, if any, is the real lesson that has come clear, at least to me.
Yeah, the hospitality experience is really what are going to connect us. And that's hospitality's greatest job. So I think if we can elevate that as an importance, that's going to be almost enough to make this worthwhile. So if we think about those experiences, how are they going to be different on the other side of this? You know, how are the hospitality experiences we deliver to our guests going to be re-envisioned, reinvented?
We've spent a lot of time thinking about that, especially so many things that all of us have just taken for granted for all of these years that are by necessity going to change. For instance, would have never occurred to me when I sat down at a table in the restaurant and picked up the salt shaker to use on my food. I wouldn't have worried whether that had been sanitized since the last person sat at that table. I just used the salt. Who amongst us has not been in a packed bar where we had to reach over somebody sitting at the bar just to get our drink? And I think it's going to be a long time before all of those things that we have always taken for granted are back to the way that it was, if ever.
If ever. I think that the new normal may not be a normal we've ever seen before. Therein lies the opportunity.
And it's interesting as we speak about hospitality and what hospitality means. There have been, I've used this phrase in my own business many times when things get really tense and we have more restaurants to open than we can possibly handle. As you know, there are times when we're responsible for opening 50 or 60 restaurants in a week. And I'll stand up, I've been known to stand up in front of my team and say, guys, calm down. We are not in the hospital business. We're in the hospitality business. And these are restaurants, and no one is going to die. But if you think about what hospitality means, even in the new world, it's not that different from a hospital. It's comforting people, caring for people, welcoming people. It's obviously in a very different setting, but that's what hospitality is all about. And we'll still have that.
I think one of the most fascinating things, your point is so right on, because it is, how do we continue to deliver that hospitality? And now how do we deliver that hospitality beyond the four walls of our restaurant? Now we have engagement that picks up at the curbside or gets delivered to someone's house. How do we make sure that we're doing all we can to deliver an elevated, differentiated experience in that hospitality environment that we have marginal control over?
There's a number of ways that we can do that. And we're already working with many of our customers to try to think of things like that. I'll give you an example once again from our own business. And every year we have a wonderful holiday luncheon in all of our large distribution centers where we take all of our people, whether it's the warehouse workers, the clerical workers, the salespeople. We can have as many as 300 or 400 people in a distribution center, and we'll have a holiday luncheon, and we'll have a caterer come in and prepare a wonderful meal. But what's different about it is all of the senior managers put on aprons and serve the meal to all of the employees, not the caterer, starting with me, all of us. And that gesture of us, the management team, serving our people makes such a difference. It's a small gesture. They're getting the same meal. They would have gotten the same meal if it had been served by the caterer. But the fact that we took our spoon and went in and served it to that person, it's that little act that makes the difference. And our employees comment about that for months afterwards. The same thing can happen in our industry, whether it's a curbside pickup or a takeout or a dining room that's only 25% less at capacity. Those little actions that we can all take will in fact make the difference.
That's true. I did takeout from one of our friends, Joanne Chang, Christopher Myers from Myers and Chang, in a very simple note that they had written on the bag, which I picked up curbside: "We miss you." Right? And it wasn't because they missed me, it's because they missed everybody that they care for. And so extending that sentiment that is so easy to deliver when you're sitting in the seat to the phone, to the digital world, and obviously beyond is going to be the challenge that lays in front of us for sure.
We just finished working with a customer that on Friday and Saturday nights always has live jazz in the restaurant. And what they did was very simple. And as part of your meal, if you ordered a takeout meal, you got a Zoom link just like us. And you could take, and in the bag was a rose and a candle. And the idea was you had to pick up your meal by 6 o'clock, go home, set the table, put the candle out, the rose in a vase, click the Zoom link along with everybody else that had picked up dinner that night, and watch the jazz show and be part of the audience and applause at the end
of great.
And what a wonderful, and the people felt connected, and there was a commentary back and forth between all of the participants, and it was as if 75 people were all having dinner together in a room in a restaurant watching a show.
I love it. That's creative thinking, right? That's certainly something the hospitality business is known for. I think one of the things that has really come from this is a greater level of connection from the consumer to their local restaurants, to their local restaurant owners. We've seen so many consumers step up and support employee funds, order exorbitant amounts of food. I was talking to one of our clients, Deborah Hansen from Taberna Aro, and she was saying people are coming down and ordering far more food than I know they could possibly eat. And I asked them why, and they're saying because we want to support you. So there certainly is an embracing of the owners and the staff in a different way as we've reconnected with the importance of hospitality. But certainly as we move forward, we're going to see a shift in what it's like to be a worker in the hospitality space, to be a cook, to be a server, to be a bartender. What do you see as the new role or the new existence of those hospitality workers in a place where we're 6 feet away from each other, or with a sneeze guard in between us, or spread out across a kitchen trying to maintain social distancing?
It's interesting, and here's some of the ways we've been thinking about it, and we've actually started to put together collateral marketing kits for our customers. So think about all of the various kinds of businesses that have been closed, whether it's nail salons, barbershops, gyms, retail, and of course, all of the restaurants. If you think about all of those types of businesses that are now going to start reopening and be faced with the same kinds of challenges, what industry has had more trained workers in how to deal with the public safely than the restaurant industry? Right. Between ServSafe, HACCP, all of the people, and not all of the people, but many of the people in all of our customers, the servers, the cooks, the bartenders, they have always been conscious of safety. They have always used gloves. They have always been conscious of food safety, sanitizing techniques. For all of these, there's been nobody in retail trained for that. There's, as far as I know, there's not a HACCP standard in retail. And there is no better industry that is poised to make sure that they can deal with this than the food service industry that has already had many of the standards in place with trained employees.
Yeah, I think it is such a good point. We are so heavily regulated, and we do already take food safety and sanitation so seriously. It's understanding how we can achieve it at a higher level, and make sure we're messaging what's happening to the consumer. I talk about the theater of sanitation. So how will that be as it moves forward? It is going to be something that we all have to figure out what's important to the consumer and what is important in the reality of our day-to-day.
The health department issues grades for every single food service operation that are public knowledge. I'm going to go back to my barbershop and get a haircut, but I don't know that they've ever been graded by the Board of Health there.
I don't know how you do that with 6-foot-long scissors. I think that it's going to be a different place for sure. And I think as people start to come back together, there's going to be such pent-up demand. I think there is going to be a period of healing, if you will, as we get to the other side of this. And I think the hospitality experiences that we deliver as restaurants are going to be an important part of that. And what do you see the role of hospitality as we live through an uncertain future of social distancing and masks? And how do we make sure that we're positioning the hospitality experience as great as it can be? Because I think when people leave the safety of their homes, there's going to be an additional scrutiny around taking that risk of leaving your home to deliver a better and more elevated hospitality experience. So what will that role of the hospitality experience be in the age of social distancing?
It will be growing into it. So like you, we're designers, we're engineers, whether it's working with one of our best customers, a Chick-fil-A, to figure out how people get back into a Chick-fil-A dining room and feel comfortable, or whether it's with a Caesar's Palace. I'm not sure that the grand buffet at Caesar's is going to be as popular as it was in the past. All the way down to a Levy organization that runs the food service at sports arenas.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of those kinds of customers presents a different challenge, but it's doable. The days, I think, are long gone when we go into our favorite restaurant and our table isn't ready and we're directed to wait in the packed bar. I don't think that that's going to happen for a while. I think we will put protocols in place to make sure the table is ready when we get there. I think that people are going to want to go out to dinner with their friends and their family and other people that they're comfortable with, but they're going to be wary of other strangers in the restaurants. Design can accomplish that. The biggest challenge is going to be how we can help our customers maintain profitability with such a reduced number of seats in the restaurant. And that's going to take a lot of innovation in primarily the kitchen to see how our restaurateurs can make do with less and be able to maintain some semblance of profitability. We all know what the profit margins are on restaurants, and it's not sustainable with the same infrastructure with a 50% reduction in headcount. So we are using portions of parking lots and alleys to create outdoor dining. We are reconfiguring bars into seating areas because you're not going to be able to stand in the bar. We're coming up with innovative ways so that you can still sit at a bar and get a drink without having contact with the person next to you. All of these are ways that we're just going to have to work with our customers to maintain their level of profitability.
Reinventing the restaurant business is going to be not only a operational and design challenge, but a P&L challenge.
Correct. And there are ways to accomplish that, utilizing, as you well know, different pieces of cooking equipment that are more versatile, that can produce meals faster with fewer cooks. But it's just not going to be able to do things the way that we've always done them in the past. But it'll be an interesting challenge.
Yes, there's the challenge that lies above us, and clearly, you've got a great team of creative thinkers that sound like they're really digging into the future. Is there one thing that you look at and you ponder as something totally new and totally opportunistic that comes in the wake of this forest fire that has impacted our world, but something that is going to spring from the ashes on the forest floor, some new morsel of hospitality or some different way of behaving or doing?
The only thing that we have seen is many of our customers were not set up at all to do delivery or takeout. And if we can work with our customers now to be able to continue that new market segment that they didn't participate in before. So our best restaurants that are doing a really good job with curbside pickup and delivery and takeout, the best ones, not the QSRs, but the regular restaurants, are about 20% of their capacity if they've done a great job doing that. Imagine if they could continue to do that and keep that 20% there and then run the restaurant at 50% capacity. That's sustainable. And that if anything, is what we have seen emerge. And then there are some really innovative ideas. We have restaurants that weren't doing very many desserts because desserts don't package well. Creme brulee, very hard. However, this restaurant, in working with us, came up with a great idea to do the creme brulee in a bowl, a regular china bowl, and you get to keep the bowl. And after a while, if you keep going back to that restaurant, you've built yourself a set for you to use at home. And we found a bowl that was 84 cents that was perfect for a creme brulee. We worked it into the price. People love getting that real China restaurant bowl, keeping
Sure.
it. There are people that are now going back once a week so they can get a set of 6 of them.
It's like when we were kids and you had the little jelly jars with, Walt Disney on it.
It's a resilient, innovative industry. I thought that's a great idea. And things like that will spring up from the ashes to enable us all to survive.
That's a great note to end on, the collaboration of our industry. It is as competitive as it is. We are always willing to share ideas and share thoughts, and that's the only way we're going to get to the other side of this. Certainly, Jerry, I appreciate you spending your time downloading with me. This is always a great conversation to catch up with you. So TriMark is such an important partner of ours, and I know of many of our clients. So I really appreciate it and look forward to continued conversations about where we go.
It's always fun talking to you, Ed. Stay in touch.